Hello, friends, and welcome back to another WSIB Truth Matters with Joe Machado. Today is Friday. It's a beautiful day out there. The sun is shining. I got my Friday happy shirt on. I hope you're having a happy Friday yourself. One of the things that one of the positive things about when these assholes decided that they want to target me and come after me was that, and I'm one of those guys with the glass half full, and I don't look at a glass half empty. It's just never been in my nature. So I look for the positive. And so anyway, for the better part of 30 years, actually maybe a little bit less than that, I wore suits every day, pretty much every day. And, tie and shirt and all that kind of stuff and polished shoes. And I was always very picky about how I looked, so I had to hand polish my shoes, make sure that my ties were pressed and all that stuff. And so now I don't need to do that. I think I've only put on a suit in the last 5 years, probably about 4 or 5 times, if that. Ended up giving away, maybe 20 suits, 120 ties. Actually, I kept those. A bunch of shirts and dress shoes. I just kind of kept one of each for, funerals and weddings and that kind of stuff. So I get to wear my happy shirt. I get to wear t-shirts all the time. Unless I have a business meeting, then I'll put on a casual wear, but not a suit. Anyway, I don't know why I went into this, but just to tell you a little bit about me. We're on to the second part of the 3-part series today, where I'm going to talk to you about using their internal organization structure to your advantage. So yesterday I covered, for those of you who didn't watch the video yesterday, I recommend you go and watch it. But so I covered how to identify who's pulling the strings. Then we got into the organizational structure and the various levels. So today I'm going to go into actually what happens there. And what we're going to do is we're going to take a peek behind the curtain. You know, that curtain that they don't want anybody to go in there. That's where they have their, dirty deeds and where they do all of their scheming. And it is. I mean, it is. Like, shit happens. It's the bottom line. And that's it. But anyway, they hate me big time. They've always hated me, and they hate me even more now because, I know what goes on behind that curtain, and I'm sharing it. I have the biggest blowhorn in town, and I am yelling it from the top of my lungs for everybody to hear, so that you can take your power back. That's my only motivation, is to help you take your power back and tell these people that, hey, that shit isn't going to work with me anymore. I got the tools now. So anyway, moving along here. So the WSIB, as you know, have an office in Toronto. They're trying to move to London now, and they have various satellite offices all over the province. And they handle different types of claims in those offices. But Toronto, pretty much the big area that all of the strings get pulled, all the power is in Toronto. But in these offices, you have eligibility adjudicators, case managers. You may have a nurse case manager or a return to work advisor. Definitely a manager and a director. Some directors manage a couple of offices. At least that's the way it was when I was still active with them. But not a whole lot has changed. And they have a ton of VPs in Toronto, like an absurd amount of VPs. I've alluded to this before. I'm going to do a video just on just how absolutely brutal and asinine their structure is, and the waste that goes on. But anyway, that's for another video. So the Treasury Department is also in Toronto. That's where all of the payments get issued. And And so, and most of the VPs are also situated there. Basically, within that organizational structure, you have different people performing several different functions. And the thing that a lot of people don't know or understand is that you think that you're dealing with a case manager, for example, which is generally the person you deal with the most, and that their word is the absolute gospel. It's final. And most people don't know any better. I mean, they don't promote their whole structure and what the role of every person is. And they do that for a reason. They want to hide it from guys like me. But anyway, I found a way to get it. So that's not the case. And so whenever a case manager makes a decision or isn't acting in a professional manner, being abusive, threatening, intimidating, bullying, you have a recourse. And that recourse is to go to that person's supervisor. And there's another level above that and another level above that one. And Monday, when I do the third part, I'm going to reveal the tools that we've developed for you to work within that infrastructure to get results. Now, why do they have all these levels? I mean, there's some good and not so good reasons for it. Obviously, there needs to be somewhat of a quality control, some oversight. But too much quality control and too much oversight only causes delays. For example, you own a construction company, and one of your areas is bricklaying. And you have bricklayers, and these guys are supposed to know, or women, how to do their job. It's a trade. You learn the trade, and you know everything about bricklaying. And even if you started recently and you have little experience, you should know all the basics. And then with a little bit of time, work on the job, you're going to gain more experience. But if you hire a bricklayer, first of all, you should screen that up front. If you do your due diligence and understand the industry and your business, you should screen that so that you're hiring individuals that have the actual skills to perform, even if it's the most basics of the job requirement. So your oversight requirement is going to be much lesser. And time is money in any business. So if you're having to micromanage everything that, if you're a manager, for example, and you have to micromanage everything that a case manager is doing, there's something wrong. There's an overlap there, and not only is it causing delays, but it's wasteful spending. And I've seen this happen time and time and time again, where I'm dealing with case managers, and it's like, holy shit, I don't even understand what this person's saying. It doesn't make any sense. Nobody should have that or have to deal with that situation when you're dealing with someone who should know how to do the absolute basics of their job. So that quality control, that oversight is important. You want to avoid delays. But you know what? Supervisors a lot of times can create their own set of delays. If they're micromanaging one of their case managers, they're not able to give their full attention to the others to ensure that with minimal oversight, things are moving along. You get backlog. That's not being an effective manager. So then above that person is this director. They have business manager and they have directors or assistant directors that are that next level. So understanding how that works and being able to punch through all of that crap that you shouldn't have to deal with, because those are internal issues that should not impact how your case is managed whatsoever. Being able to punch through that is essential to getting your issues addressed. And that is if there's being delays, if you're not getting callbacks, if you're not getting responses to correspondence, if you're, basically just waiting for your check to be issued and it hasn't been. There's a number of scenarios where it's like, you know what? I don't have time for this shit. You need to be able to move to the next level. That can be intimidating. A lot of my case managers, my own paralegals, at first were intimidated by the prospect of having to go up the ladder. But, I showed them the tools we had to make it very, very comfortable, because people don't like confrontation, to make things easier. And the way I set it up, it's very easy. Employing those tactics to get results. Now, I need to caution you. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get the response that you want if you're waiting for a decision and you're expecting loss of earnings benefits to be paid, or a pension, or an increase to a supplement, or now things of that nature. So I want to make sure that these two aren't mixed in, because I'm going to talk about how to getting results based on the merits of the case in my May 1st series, which I'm going to talk about our due diligence strategy. So, but you shouldn't have to be in a position where you're being prejudiced by their lack of efficiency within their own organization. That's not on you. Punching through that bullshit real quick is what gets action done. And you know what? And my paralegals often found, and they come back and say, you know what, Joe? Holy shit, it's working. And I'd be going, well, what do you mean? Well, you know what? I always had issues with this case manager. And I did the process like you taught me to do. And I only had to go one level up. And you know what? I don't get that anymore. I get prompt callbacks. I get a reply. I get a fax with the decision I was waiting for. Like, it just happened. Well, I said, yeah, of course it does. It happens because, you know what? People, they don't want to be called out by their superior, because if it happens too many times, there's going to be trouble. And so they have a vested interest in making sure that they address whatever their issues that are preventing them from being effective. They have a vested interest in addressing those. One of the other things about how this internal system works is the whole aspect of payment and processing of benefits. So the way that it works, and I'm intimately knowledgeable of that, I had payment managers on my speed dial on my phone and access to them for a variety of different reasons. They just found it was easier to deal with me that way because I got things done faster and others didn't have to deal with me when I disputed calculations and how they were being done and shit like that, that most payment specialists should actually know. But again, part of that oversight is within that infrastructure, that organizational structure that I just spoke of. But the part that really pisses me off is that on many instances, people are desperate to get their check, whether it's to pay arrears on their mortgage or their rent or their car insurance. Like, these are things that have to do with their lives that are urgent. And you got some manager or director sitting on a payment to approve it. And if nobody nudges them, they'll sit on it forever. So that isn't something that should go on at all. And again, one of those aspects of the structure where managers are just causing delays in the process. You know, A case manager has the authority to authorize a certain amount of benefits to be issued. If it's more than that amount, it has to go to a manager to sign off on it. If it's beyond that, it has to go to a director, the vice president, the president, and in some cases, the chief operating officer, depending on the amount. And I've had all of them. Now, here's the trouble that I have. So there's a healthy balance, or should be, between managing claims and managing money. The WSIB, their primary function is to manage claims. And in the part of managing claims is to get access to funds quickly. Just like I mentioned yesterday, remember those promises they made as to they're going to providing better access to services and benefits and treatment and all that kind of stuff? So their job, their primary function is to get money out, whether it's for treatment or loss of earnings or a pension payment or a supplement, whatever the case is. And if there are being delays that are created because everybody in the system and their brother and uncle and sister-in-law is involved in the frickin' process of signing off on a check, there's a real big problem there that should not exist. But hey, I was able to punch through that too. And that's how sometimes there would be a call to a VP. Hey, listen, this check's being held by Treasury. I've been notified. They're waiting on your signature. Can you just pull it, have a look, and get it done? And in 9 times out of 10, it would be done within the day. Because that happens when you can take their shit and throw it right back at them. It produces results. I did have the one case though where, and in about 30 years this happened, maybe a half a dozen, I can count on this hand how many times it happened. Actually, that's a bit of a joke. When I'm auctioning on something, they don't like it. They're not really sure what I'm saying. Is it 5, 10? Okay, you get the point. Anyway, I had this one client and she called me up and she said, Joe, I just got this check for $60,000, give or take a few cents. And I said, that's strange. I said, it shouldn't have happened. 9 times out of 10, myself or one of my staff would pick up the check and deliver it to the client. We wanted to make sure the client got it as quickly as possible. This one slipped through the cracks, which is fine. And so I said to her, I said, okay, you need to, don't cash that check. She goes, but why? I said, because somebody made a mistake. What do you mean? I said, yes, that is too much money. Somebody made an error in the calculations, and believe me, they're going to be looking to get it back. So the best thing is don't cash it. But she said, but I've already put it in the bank. I said, okay, if you have anything coming out of that account that your regular budget doesn't cover, you need to move that money into another account and leave it there until I let you know. And it'll be done in the next 24 hours. She says, oh, okay, I feel better that way. So anyway, sure enough, a day later, I get a call from the case manager. She was absolutely panicking. She said, Joe, I don't know how to tell you this. I said, listen, there's no need to explain. She goes, well, what do you mean? I said, the client got the check. I've asked her to put it in a separate account. I did advise her that it was too much money and that she should have it available to return it. She says, oh my God, really? I said, yeah. Well, how did you know to do that? I said, well, because I'm not an idiot. I know my job. And when I request something, I always do my calculations beforehand so that you guys aren't trying to screw my client with shortchanging my client. But when I do those calculations, I also know if it's more money than they should be receiving. So she says, oh my God, I had to talk with my manager. She was so upset. And, we were concerned that it was going to create this massive overpayment and we wouldn't be able to get the money back and all that. I said, listen, just relax. It's dealt with. I'm going to contact the client right now. She's going to get a bank draft done for that amount, and then she's going to send it back, and you can go ahead and issue what she's actually entitled to, which was, I think it was about $24,000 or something like that. So they do make mistakes sometimes, but it doesn't justify going up to 20 people to get a check released for a person who's desperately waiting for it. Now, I know some people will tell you, you know what, if you're not getting answers promptly or whatever, you can go to your MPP or the Fair Practices Commission, or you can go to the Ombudsman. Yeah, they're all very good options. If you have 3, 4, 5 weeks to tell somebody your story, then they got to go and do their thing, and who knows how long that's going to take. But my system works very quickly. All you got to do is, and the way that it's set up on WSIB'S my company, is all you got to do is go in, enter a couple of things, print, upload it onto right to WSIB on the through our member center and the direct upload link to the WSIB, get a timestamp of the date that it was there, and it works like a charm. And it's already drafted for you with the proper wording, and you have nothing to do. Just use it, and it tells you which one to use at what time and when it's appropriate. So it's an easy system to use, and it produces results real quick. You may only have to do it once or twice. At the end of the day, though, you know what compels people into taking action within this infrastructure? Is they don't want to do somebody else's job for them. So if a case manager is supposed to be doing their job and know how to do it effectively, and they're returning calls and they're providing answers and they're doing their stuff they're supposed to be doing, I shouldn't, as a manager, I shouldn't have to be doing your job for you. Nobody should have to call me. So sometimes they just want you to know how smart they are, which I don't really give a shit. Because in most cases, they're not. They're talking out of their asses half the time. I'm sorry to be critical, but that's just the way I am. I call it like it is. I don't mince words. They're looking to move up within the organization. Like, these people they are on a career path. I've seen case managers that went on to become managers and directors. It happens. And the only way it happens is just they're being effective in how they're handling stuff, so that people further up the ladder look at it and say, hey, okay, this person, when we post another job in this unit or whatever, let's give them a chance. They don't want to be viewed as ineffective. That's the absolute worst thing that could happen, is if they're viewed as being ineffective. That means that somebody's gone to that manager or director one too many times to say, okay, now it's time. This is like your 4th meeting I've had and you still don't get it. Time to go now. They have a vested interest in getting off their plate. So the manager or the director, for them, it's important to get it done because they're on that career path, or they have other stuff they need to get off their plate that if that gets backlogged, it's going to go up again, and it's a problem. You have all the leverage when dealing with these people, and when you use this system effectively, you have all the leverage, you have all the power, and by the end of Monday, my Monday video, you're going to go, okay, now I have the tools to do it. I can do this. Now, I always caution people, like I did with my clients. Do not communicate with them on the phone by yourself, and do not, under any circumstances, leave messages that could be misinterpreted. The best way to communicate with WSIB staff at all levels, by letter or email. Or if they absolutely have to speak with you, do a conference call. Have a friend, do that conference call, and let the WSIB person know, I have a person who is on the conference call, someone I trust, who's going to be taking notes of our conversation. I hope you're okay with that. But if you're not, I will not have this conversation with you. You can tell me what you need to tell me in writing, or you can request what you need from me in writing, and you can email it to me. These things don't take long these days. You don't have to wait for snail mail. There's email. There's ways to communicate quickly. There's ways for you to upload information that they need directly to their to the WSIB. With my company, we have the place to do that, but you can just go online and do it as well. So there's no reason why that should delay communication. But when you communicate with these people alone, especially on the phone, they're typing away. They're making note of everything that you talked about, and it may not be exactly the way you said it, and they may start taking some of those notes after the phone call was over, and they've been interrupted in a number of different ways, and they're trying to finish this memo, and everything gets muddled up, dates and stuff gets muddled up, and all of these errors, and you'll never know unless you request a copy of your file, or they try to cut you off for a reason. You won't know that unless you actually see it, but that happens. I've reviewed thousands of files personally. It happens. So for your own protection, do not communicate with them unless it's by email, letter, or if absolutely necessary, conference call. Have somebody you know and you trust on the line and let them know that you're going to be taking notes, and you're going to send them a copy of that note as soon as the call is done. That's the best way to protect yourself with these people. Because you know what? I don't trust them at all. None of them. Think about that. Okay, so Monday we have the conclusion. Getting the WSIB to take you seriously. Believe me, when they see one of these tools I created hit them right between the eyes, they'll know. There are certain trademarks, I wouldn't say trademarks, but certain ways over the years that I've worded things and a certain strategy and how certain things work. They already know. I have members of my company who are using these tools. And, you know, I've had some say, things are pretty smooth. Because it works. It works. So, Monday, getting the WSIB to take you seriously and getting results. By the time I'm through with that one, you will know exactly what to do to manage your case and to not get screwed over by these people. So, friends, once again, please subscribe to my channel. It's the only way I can grow the channel. It costs you nothing. It's absolutely free, and it helps me. Also, give me a thumbs up if you like my content. Please give me a thumbs up. That also really helps. Give me your comments. Ask if you have questions, certain details that you would like. Send me an email. I promise you, I'll respond, and I'll provide you with the answers that you need. And please share it. Share it with others. Not only does it help me to grow the channel, but it really can help a lot of people out there that are in that place right now. They're in that place, probably like where you are, and they're going, how can I do this? I don't know who to call. I don't know how to. Do I have to go to a lawyer or paralegal, or how can I do this? I have no idea. And that share, you know, they'll look at it, and whether you do it through Facebook or your Instagram account, or Twitter or LinkedIn, that may be the answer that they were looking for. The lifeline, if you will. And believe me, there's thousands of people out there in that situation. I can promise you that. So please share it with as many people as you can. And you know what? If there's some particular content that you would like me to talk about, let me know in the comments. I have enough material for at least 24, 36 months. But I'm always I'm always trying to bring in stuff that I'm getting requests from viewers. I also have viewers who email me questions about certain things that they'd like to know about, and I cover that on my Wednesday Q&As. So anyway, it's all there. Thanks again, friends, for tuning in. I really hope that you have an amazing Friday and you have an amazing weekend. And look for that next video coming out. Have a great one, friends. Take care.